What's going on, guys? Your boy Coach Anthony, and of course, none other than world-class professional fighter, Fast Eddie Chambers. Black Friday, everybody's favorite time of the year. But why are we gonna wait? We ain't waiting until Black Friday. I want to give you guys the biggest opportunity that I have ever given to grab all 16 of my masterclass courses for over 90% off. I've sold these courses previously for $300 a pop, and now you can grab all 16 for less than the price of one. I want you guys to head over to CoachAnthonyBoxing.com, and if you want to grab one course at a time, you can also grab those courses for only $47. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this sale is not going to last. So what I'm going to need you to do is go to the website and grab it now, because as soon as I raise the prices, not only am I going to raise the prices, I'm going to charge more than I've ever charged, because the value inside of these courses are second to none. Oh, and how can I forget? Every single person who grabs the Master Boxing Bundle is going to get enrolled to the CA Boxing University, which is a private community where you can upload your sparring, ask questions 24/7, show your heavy bag work, basically share your journey with a bunch of like-minded people. This is a no-brainer, guys. So you guys already know what to do. CoachAnthonyBoxing.com. Box now.
Yo, Eddie, where you at? There you go.
I'm here.
We got the one and only Fast Eddie Chambers. Eddie, man, I can't believe that it's only one day away from my sale ending, man. I can't believe it. I've been talking about it every single day for the last 30 days. Black Friday.
Seems like it's been so long.
I know it feels like it's been like all year, but Black Friday was yesterday. Of course, tomorrow is Cyber Monday. I don't know. Black Friday was 2 days ago. Yesterday was the Benavides, which inspired today's live stream. And then, of course, today is Sunday, and then tomorrow is Cyber Monday. So I'm like, man, I'm just gonna let the sale out till tomorrow, man. But guys, if you guys have not taken advantage of the sale, we are coming down. We are ticking down to the last 24 hours for sure, 100%. Don't think that I'm bluffing. It's gonna be over. You know what I'm saying? I know people probably thinking, he's full of it. He's bluffing. Tomorrow is the last day of the biggest sale that I've ever done. Over 50 years of experience between the two of us, Eddie. I was just thinking about that.
That's
25 years to me, 10 as a coach, 25, or how many years as a pro? 25-year professional boxer?
About 25, yeah.
25 years professional boxer in the ring fighting. 25 years, guys. 16 courses. 2024 is going to be a major epic year for what we do with online boxing training. So I'm super excited for that. Super excited to raise the prices. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously giving these deals are great, and I love helping people and hooking people up, but I can't wait to raise these prices like to what I know they're worth, and the whole new marketing campaign. And some of the people who have followed me for a while might not be the people who purchase the stuff, but the people who do purchase it, they are going to spend a lot more money. They're going to get a whole bunch of value as well. So I'm excited all around the board, because when I make more money, I could bring in more people that can really help this program grow even bigger, have you more involved. This is going to be crazy, man.
It's going to be a great thing. Keep giving out this game, man, because a lot of people need it, man. Honestly, I'm looking at, some fighters, high-level fighters, even high-level fighters, sometimes I think can use this kind of information. This is why trainers are so important. You know what I mean? And high-level trainers, people that know the game. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, these kind of – I mean, I know it's like online courses, and you would think, oh, man, high-level fighters, what would they get from this? You'd be surprised at, some of the ideas that we bring up. And, like, we had conversations amongst each other and with other high-level guys like Billy Briscoe, to name one of them. And we discussed so many different things. And then you look at the courses we have and how those conversations are kind of like infused into the courses, and those things that we talk about, and we then put it in actual action, which is an awesome thing to see. So, I mean, there's so much game in these courses, man. They're getting a real bargain, and they need to go ahead and take heed as soon as possible.
Yeah, not only that, man, the private community, which is going to get a whole lot more personal attention, and this type of relationship that we're having with the YouTube community, which is great. I love going live with YouTube and chopping it up with everybody. But at the same time, the who invest into the courses are going to get a whole lot more specialized attention because, I mean, they invested. I mean, they deserve it. You see what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with investing a few dollars for something that you like. So again, guys, like I said, I'm always going to remind you guys, plug my courses because we know what we got. And we also know that we're underpricing it. So if you guys have not waited yet, go ahead. I mean, you have not acted yet, go ahead, go to the website because tomorrow's Black Friday, the last day. And oh yeah, we're down to the last 5 episodes of No Days Off November, Eddie. The last 5 episodes, guys. We've been consistent, going live every single day for the month of November. On Thursday, which will be our very last episode for No Days Off November, I want to do it at the gym. We were going to go to the gym tonight, but I say, you know what? Let's save that episode for the last episode. So if you guys have anything in specific right now that you would like Eddie and I to cover as one main topic, like what's one thing you could think of that you want us to spend an hour or 2 hours really diving into, leave it in the chat or leave it in the comment section at the end of this video if you're not watching it live. We got 5 days to plan for this, and we're going to make it a super dope event. You guys are going to get a whole lot of free game, and I hope you guys are there to enjoy it with us live. Okay, I had to get the marketing side out of what we got going on. Now let's go into today's topic, man. How to outsmart and beat a more skilled boxer, Eddie. So something that was inspired basically by yesterday's fight. And there's no David Benavidez because David Benavidez is a freaking tank. Like he knew he was a tank. We knew that this guy is not easy to beat. I picked Andrade to win the fight. However, deep down, I kind of knew. That's why I didn't place the bet. Like when I seen the odds 4-1, I was like, damn, if I really believed in Andrade, I'd put some money on him. But part of me was like, don't be stupid, dude. You're going to lose the money. You know? Like, I kind of knew. But I still kind of wanted the more skillful guy to win only because I'm a skill type of a fighter, a skill type of a trainer. However, I totally understand the nuances of boxing and the other variables that go into the fight game. And I knew deep in my soul, if I really, really thought he was going to win, I'd have put the money on him. I didn't for a reason. Now, with that being said, Eddie, what is like something that you could think of that you can see a guy with less boxing skills beating the more skilled boxing? And we've seen it in history. We've seen it with guys like Ricardo Mayorga beating
that's a good one. Furnan Forrest.
Beating Furnan Forrest. We've seen it. Now last night, that's like kind of not the same because David Benavidez is far better than Mayorga was. Right. He's far more calculated. He's a better fighter. Right. However, Demetrius Andrade had more tools, I guess you can say. So what are some of the things that you think that you could think of right off the bat? I'll think of a few things. We'll start with you because you're the fighter that you can do to beat a guy who you know is more like right now, Eddie, if we knew that we were going up against a guy who was just far more skilled than you, not that I don't know anybody more skilled than Fast Eddie Chambers, but I'm just saying, if there happened to be a guy more skilled than Fast Eddie Chambers, who probably doesn't exist, how do you beat him?
Man, to be honest, depending on the attributes you have and what you're bringing to the table. If you want to do, the David Benavidez, if we want to do the Ricardo Mayorga with Furnan Forrest thing, it's just desire and focus and determination, those types of things. Because a skilled fighter can then be outfought. Pace can be too high. Like for example, let's go to David Benavidez and Andrade, right? What he does by pressing and being a big body, is the kind of thing that it's like you see this wall coming in and you run up to the wall and you try to push it, you work it 10 times hard just to keep the wall from moving, and it's almost like futile. It doesn't really show anything. And you see it, and then your mind starts to play on you, and you start to think you're more tired even than you are. And if you see in the fight, if you pay attention, how good he was doing early, but how hard he was working. And if you watch David Benavidez and how he approached the fight, he approached it really calm. He picked shots when he could. He would throw to the body periodically. He would stay in his face, and then as the fight wore on, maybe once it got to like the third and fourth round, you could just see and look at Andre's face, and it was just like you could just see it looked like he had bags under his eyes, like he ain't sleep for a week. You know what I mean? He was stressed. He was just he just looked worn down. And it only was 4 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes just mentally, what that puts on the guy, just that foot pressure. Basher used to always talk about it. Man, put that foot pressure on him. Always having your feet right in his face, or not necessarily your feet, but you know what I'm saying. Being in his zone constantly. It was kind of the Triple G effect. Triple G used to do the same thing. Didn't have that flashy footwork, but he had the kind of footwork, and he understood how to cut the ring off. He would turn that ring from a 20 by 20 to a 5 by 5, and you just really had no.
Hold on, Eddie.
Go ahead.
Instagram. You see what we doing, man? We're talking about how to beat and outsmart a more skilled fighter. Go to my story right now. You see everybody's chopping in, everybody's chiming in. Make sure you pull up, listen to Fast Eddie Chambers, give out some game. I will be also chiming in. We're going to be educating, teaching. Go to my story, click the link. I'm not staying here on Instagram. As you can see, I just had to go on Instagram real quick, Eddie, to remind them. Go to my story. I made it easy for you guys. Click the link. Go ahead, Eddie. Continue, and then I'm going to get off this Instagram in a second. But continue what you were saying.
Yeah. It's, just like I said, that pressure. And then, obviously we see Andrade has the flashier skills, the good footwork. Even at times he was out punching, with the speed and even the accuracy in ways. But it was just David Benavidez, even though you could say, oh, he's one dimensional, he just comes forward and he just pressures guys. Well, that is one thing that is extremely difficult to deal with. I think that may be one of the toughest styles to deal with, especially when you have a guy who's determined, tough, and skilled himself. You know what I mean? He understands what punches to throw in what situations, and he understands how to put pressure, and not only how to put pressure properly, but where to place the punches as well. How the cutoff shots. The body shots, the key body shots, the jabs, those surprise right hands, those I like to call them winky right hands off of the high guard, those types of things. Yeah, those types of things, which is like at first it may seem like, oh, Andrade is doing good. He was up 3-0. It was like, oh, he was doing his work. Then all of a sudden, how quick how a meteoric rise, meteoric fall. Is he had to do so much work. He had to do so many different things, add so many different movements, defend so much harder. And David Benavidez was literally in cruise control, just chilling, working his way in, taking his time. He knew he was bigger. He knew he was stronger. He knew his punches would mean more. And by the 6th round, it was all that Andre could take.
Well, that's the first thing that I said. So after the first 3 rounds, even though I was like, man, I think that Andrade might pull this off, my other conscience said he's throwing too much. He's working too hard.
That's what I said.
And we knew deep down that it was just a matter of time. I thought he was going to last a little bit longer than 6 rounds. And I kept saying that the fight starts in the 6th if we can get there, right? Remember I said that? And he didn't even really complete he finished the 6th, and that was about it. And it just shows you, man, the pressure. So to get back into the topic, how to outsmart and beat a skilled fighter. If I'm going to start breaking it down into bullet points, first thing that Eddie said in his whole spew right here was you have to be more determined than the guy you're fighting. That was one of the main takeaways that I got. You have to be more determined. You have to be willing to go through the fire. I'll never forget. There was a fight that you guys might want to go back and check out. It was Diego Chico Corrales versus Casamayor, the Cuban fighter, Casamayor. Yeah. And it was a back and forth battle. And in the 6th round or something, Diego's mouthpiece went through his cheek, and there was a hole in his face. Do you remember that, Eddie? There was a hole in the face of Diego Chico Corrales. So the referee
right around there.
Yeah, I think Jay Nady stopped the fight. So when they went to interview Diego Chico Corrales, he lost that particular fight. And he was pissed off because he wanted to keep fighting. You know, he was really upset. And when they interviewed him, he said, "You guys don't know what I'm willing to go through to win. You have no freaking idea what I'm willing to go through to win. Don't ever stop one of my fights." Couple of fights later, he fights Castillo. And we all know what happened in that fight, where he got dropped twice in the 12th round to come back and knock 10th round to come back and knock him out with only a few seconds left in that particular round, in a fight that looked like he was finished. So what that goes to show, not that he was less skilled than that in Castillo, but he was more determined. He was willing to go through a fire that, you know what I'm saying, there was nothing you could stop him. So that's the first takeaway I'm taking from that, Eddie. Is that a good
100%.
thing? Okay,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
if you know you're fighting somebody with more skill than you, you better be freaking determined. You better be just willing to basically die that night in reality. Like, I hate to say it like that, but you have to be willing.
That's how real.
Yeah, like, people don't really understand that. You have to be willing to die for this shit if you really want to be the best. And, you know, and I think that it's like anything in life, you know what I'm saying? Anything that you really want in life, you're willing to die for it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, you know what I'm saying? And once you're no longer willing to die for that particular thing, that means you don't want it that bad. You want it, but you don't want it that bad. You see what I'm trying to say? Once you lose a piece of that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's time to exit. I agree 100%.
If you're not willing to die for it, just leave it alone. Not saying that you should put yourself in positions to die for it, but you have to die for it. You know what I mean? Listen, if I got to protect my family, I'm willing to die for that. Like, you're going to have to kill me to get to my family, right? Why?
That's what a man does.
Yeah, because to me, my family means everything to me. I'm willing to die for that shit. Fighters are the same way when they're basically protecting themselves, because when you're in the ring, the other motherfucker on the other side is trying to really hurt you, but potentially kill you. So you gotta fucking be willing to die for it, because you might fucking die. It could be It could be a situation that you don't even want it to go down that way. So that's just the first thing, right? You have to have that kind of want, that kind of will. That's what we say. If you don't want to do this, don't do it. Don't have one foot in, one foot out. Use boxing for fitness. Use boxing for personal development. Use boxing to learn some shit, but don't jump into the competitive side of this shit. If you're like, oh, as soon as I get hit with a shot, I'll just quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should not be in there thinking that way. I mean, it may happen if you're smart. Listen, Andrade quit yesterday. I saw the video. Yeah. He quit. He said stop the fight himself. He stopped the fight because he knew he was no longer willing to die for it. He already understood at that moment. But he was willing at a point. So that changed in the duration of the fight. Would you agree, Eddie?
Well, it's like this. 100%. He realized that whether he was willing to die for it or not, there was no victory in it for him. He knew that he couldn't win the fight. He knew that whatever he was doing wasn't going to keep David Benavidez from putting his hands on him constantly. And he knew he couldn't take but so much. So it's not like he hit, like if he was able to hit him and drop him and hurt him and possibly get his respect in that way, he would have kept going. But he knew that he couldn't. He knew the stakes were too high and that he would end up being on the shit end of that stick. So he did the right thing.
Right. So, you know, that's no knock on him, but that's just some advice. If you're going up against somebody you're better than, you got to be willing to go all out. Secondly, you better be in shape. Matter of fact, you better be in better shape. You better try your best to be in better shape than the guy you are fighting. Eddie, touch on that.
Oh, my gosh. I can't tell you the amount of times I've sparred with guys, not necessarily in fights, but they were just their pace and their gas tank was higher. I was a lot better skilled, and it took so much just to keep them off me. And to be quite honest, the pace that I was prepared to go and the amount of punches I was prepared to throw was just like with Andre. The only thing was I was tough enough and defensively good enough where I could stand in front of him and last the entire fight. Povetkin fight for one is one in particular that I can mention. At one point in the fight, he realized that I wasn't able to keep up the punch count, and I didn't have the gas tank in the later rounds to continue to dominate like I was doing early. And what did he do? He did the hustle. He went out there and just fought and fought and fought. He knew he was outgunned skill wise, but he knew all he had to do was keep that punch count up and keep his hands on me. He could win a decision. I don't think he thought he could knock me out. I don't think any of those things came across his mind. I think what he was thinking was, let me win this decision by keeping my hands on him as much as I can and keep them right hands from hitting me in my eye, like they happened early in the fight. So his skill level, even though he was considered a really high skilled guy, wasn't to the level of mine. But regardless of that, he understood what it is he had to do to win the fight, and he did it.
Yeah, man. So for all you guys out there who want to, you guys are going to ask me the question, well, how do you get in better shape? How do you do that? Listen, man, it's a compilation of everything. Boxing is strength, conditioning, a mind-body connection. You got to do the whole boxer's routine to the max. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the drills that we got in heavy bag conditioning drills are fantastic to get a guy in shape. And I believe that the heavy bag, if your joints are up for it, if you got good joints, no injuries, your shoulders are good, your wrists are good, your hands are good, the heavy bag is by far one of the best tools to get in shape for a fucking boxer. It is exactly what you're going to be doing in a fight, throwing punches. You know what I'm saying? So you want to develop some power, throw hard shots on the heavy bag. You want to develop some speed, throw some quick shots on the heavy bag. You want to build endurance and conditioning, do nonstop punch drills on the heavy bag. Of course, if you have good joints and everything is going good for you. If you're a guy with some arthritis like I have in my wrist, or you have a shoulder injury, or your knuckles are messed up, then of course we're gonna have to figure out alternatives. And with a good boxing trainer, we can come up with those alternatives. But if everything is working fine, I'm talking to the guy who has nothing going on, work that heavy bag. You know what I'm saying? Work. Don't be afraid of it. It's going to help. Everybody wants, listen, I got a thing where I gave out 8 tips to give people to develop power. And man, it went crazy. Everybody was commenting, pow, 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 pow. And I know what they were thinking. They were waiting for the freaking exercises. They were waiting for the weight training routine. They were waiting for the medicine ball routine. But they forgot about the technique.
That's the biggest part.
And that's basically all I touched on in those 8 tips was technique. And I used the heavy bag to demonstrate. And it's because that's really where you get the real base of your power. Everything else is supplemental to it. You see what I'm saying?
1,000,000%.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
I was gonna say, shameless plug, like not one, I think it was 2 of the drills that we had in one of the courses. I think it was heavy bag conditioning, was the 4-punch burpee. We probably should look at it if you got some time. If you wanted to go and look at that, take a look at it and kind of and also that speed drill that we talked about the other day, I used to do with me and my dad. Like if you look at those 2 drills right there, just those 2 drills. I mean, there's a ton more that we got in there, but those 2 drills will bust your ass. Pause. I'm telling you, you'll be done by the time you're done with it. You know what I mean?
Let me just take a quick peek real quick, see what you're talking about.
Yeah,
man, we've done so much stuff in these courses, Eddie. I forget what's in them. I'm gonna be honest.
You and me both, but those are one of the ones I remember because I use it with my guys now. So that's what kind of kept me. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was heavy bag conditioning.
Oh yeah, it's heavy bag conditioning. So guys, just so you know, when you guys get into, well, let me just show people in here for the people who don't know, and the people who are part of my Master Boxing Bundle, you guys know what this looks like. Yeah. But anyway, all right, I'm in. All right, so you guys see where I'm in, and these are all the courses, guys. These are all the courses. Now let's run it over to where Eddie's talking about, which is heavy bag conditioning drills. Yeah, and
I think I don't know.
You're talking about this particular drill.
Punch burpee, punch burpee. That one.
Oh, yeah.
And the speed and the speed drill. Yeah, those two.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm not gonna show the actual workouts. They're gonna have to go to the courses to see it. But guys, just a quick peek under the hood, real quick. all the courses. They all come with a bunch of different modules. This is still one of my favorite ones, though, right here, Eddie. Like
How to
this was
set, how to set traffic, how to
punch, man. There's so much information in this. You
too,
know, but
too
again,
much game.
but we gonna move on from that. But that's just how it looks. Again, guys, you guys can go to the website right now, get all 16 courses for $297. Don't ever ask me for a discount after this, because if you don't act on this, you obviously just like don't care. And then like when they're and then out of nowhere they're gonna be like, "Yo, coach, man, what's up with that deal?" No, that deal gone, champ. That deal way gone. But anyway, man. So so we already talked about having the will. Okay, we already talked about having the conditioning,
the gas tank,
shape, being in top shape. Okay. What's something else that you would say would help to outsmart and beat a more skilled boxer?
Take them out their comfort zone. You know, make them do things that they wouldn't necessarily have to do. Make them work a little harder, which is another thing that I guess kind of goes into the foot pressure and the pressure type of thing, but make them work harder at things that they're not used to having to work hard at. Like most of the time with these guys who are really skilled, and they don't tend to have to work as hard offensively. They're like pop shot artists, like Floyd is. But if you're a guy, if you're like that, and you get a guy that is, you know, a guy that understands, hey, look, I'm gonna lose some rounds, but I'm gonna make this motherfucker work the entire time. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Maidana when he fought Floyd. He's like, I'm gonna make Floyd work every second of every round. I'm gonna throw punches. I'm gonna bite his glove. I'm gonna do everything. You know, that's even outside of the rules to make this guy work harder. So the idea is to get them as uncomfortable and as you possibly can. So it's then turning them into something that they're not. Maybe making them dirty, making them have to fight harder, maybe making them have to hold more. You know what I mean? Things that they're not going to be conditioned to do, you know, at the highest level. And I think that was one mistake that I can obviously reference from Vladimir Klitschko fight. And I remember the great Nazim said to me, and he told her he was telling you all his whole court and telling stories in the gym. And he was like, yeah, man, I told this guy back in the day, Michael Bennett, if he just picked this guy up and slam him, scare the shit out of him, he might change how he looks at the fight, might scare him into, you know, not fighting at the level we could. And so I tried to implement that in my fight, you know, with Vladimir, and it just didn't work. He was too professional. He understood what he had to do. But things like that can shock a guy and be like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? This dude's strong as hell. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep him off. And then start making them work in their mind a little bit harder to get away or to stay away. Maybe it makes them worry a little more, gets them out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean? Out of their head a little bit. You know what I mean? Or in their head a little bit. So, you know, I think another one is to make them do things, make them work harder in a sense that it makes them start to question their ability to win the fight. You know what I mean? It's more psychological warfare there. You know what I mean? Where you're just taking them their strengths away from them by making them work harder than they want to. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Let me just address this question real quick. Honest question, Coach. Okay. No offense. But what would I be getting out of Defensive Principles 101 that I couldn't just find somewhere online on YouTube? That's a fair question. So let me answer it. Well, it is and it isn't, but I
guess it is if he's never seen it. If he's never seen it, yeah.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. There's something in life, and listen how quick we can tackle these questions. For you, anybody out there who's concerned about my courses, we already showed you we're willing to go under the hood, right? But you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So if you're searching online, right, for defensive tips, that's telling you right off the rip, you understand you have more to learn. Therefore, you have to know what's the right questions to ask, right? If I want to do something and I don't know what to ask, where do I get the answer? So how are you going to pull up every single thing you need to know about defense if you're not quite sure every single thing you need to understand about defense? You may think you do, but you don't know what you don't know. Not to add, everything's already organized. And we have another course called the Philly Shell System, which also tackles defense as well. We have how to set traps and counterpunch, which teaches you how to punch off of the defense and set traps off of your posturing and different ideas. Okay, this is why I stopped pushing. I still sell the individual courses for $47 right now until tomorrow, which is still a ridiculous deal. But I'm really pushing all 16 because I understand you need everything. I understand you don't just need the defense, you need the offense, you need the footwork, you need how to fight on the inside, you need how to fight on the outside, you need the conditioning, you need to understand the basics, the fundamentals, you need to understand how to use your angles, you need to listen, we could just do this one more time. We could just do this one more time, man. Listen, I hate to get off topic, but we have to do this one more time, dude. This is under the hood right here, champ. This is under the hood right here. So this is what you're getting. If I go to angles and how to create them, this is one course, my boy. This is one course. This is one course.
I was there.
That's one course. That's one of 16. We're selling 16 of them for $297. Do you understand what that is? That's $18 a course for 50 years worth of boxing experience. So I don't speak this aggressively to sound upset. I speak this aggressively to really get it into people's heads, people who appreciate boxing. This is professional fighter Fast Eddie Chambers here. You're talking to Coach Anthony. You've been watching me for years, most likely, if you're on the stream. You know what we bring. I got Olympic certificates in the back, pictures with world champions that I train all over the wall. What else do you need? What more evidence do you need? You understand what I'm saying? What I gotta do? I gotta come over to your crib and prove to you I know what I'm doing. It's already been proven.
I honestly think these guys, they want to believe, but sometimes it's just hard to believe because of what the price is right now. Exactly. But the idea is to get it out there. The idea is to get it to the people, especially the people that follow us in the community. They deserve it. This is the kind of thing we want to build a clan of great fighters that is associated with Coach Anthony Boxing, right? So this is the kind of thing we want to happen. So we don't want it to be completely out of bounds for people. Some people just can't afford it. And this is the opportunity for you to pick it up if that's the case. You get it. Even if you don't want all of them, you can at least buy one or two. You know what I mean? It's only $47 per course. Take advantage of it. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. You can go on YouTube and search YouTube and find some things that are good, but some things that aren't. You know what I mean? At least with this, you're getting the right stuff. You know what I mean? And the questions that you should be asking will be in here, then you'll get the answer from them. You know what I mean? The right question, the right answer to the right questions.
And this is just one more thing to touch on, and then we're going to move on with the topic, y'all, because, again, I want to always sell and plug in my stuff, but at the same time, we want to, continue on topic. I don't want to get off course. The YouTube videos that we have made throughout the years, okay, just so you know, are course quality level YouTube videos. So when you see one of our YouTube videos teaching something, Eddie and I don't hold back. We teach a fucking real video. I had a kid say that to me. He said, man, your courses are just like your YouTube videos. I'm like, thank you. Because we put a lot of energy into the YouTube videos as well. I don't hold back. The difference between the courses and the YouTube videos is that the courses are organized. It's structured. It stays on course. It ain't one day we're talking about this and then we fly off the handle and go over here. That's how we do on the YouTube channel, because we just go with either whatever comes to our brain, what we feel needs to be taught for what is the inspiration of the day. But the courses keeps you aligned. It keeps you on track. You have to follow it, though. You can't just watch it once and think you got it. You got to watch it. You got to apply it. You got to watch it. You got to apply it. Just like when your coach tells you to work the jab, you could work the jab all day. You got to do it again tomorrow. You got to do it again the day after that. You got to do it again the year after that. It's not, I learned the jab. I don't have to train it anymore. No, you got to train the jab for the rest of your fucking life. If you want to keep it. You see what I'm trying to say?
That's a fact.
And that's the thing. People think that, I watched it once and no, you got it. You can always go back to it. That's the beauty of lifetime access. That's the beauty of, I get it once and I always can access this. This is great. Oh, snap. I can actually reach out to Coach Anthony now. He'll respond to me. Well, yeah, I respond to people who invest in me, champ. You know what I mean? How many DMs do you think you get a day, Eddie? Eddie, can you teach me how to do this and do that? I've seen your Instagram.
Can't count them, bro.
Do you answer any of them that don't invest?
Say it again.
Do you answer any of them that do not invest with you?
You got to
invest, whether that's
you gotta
hiring him for real life personal training, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean, he listen. I hate to say this, Eddie's been knocked out to earn his stripes in this fucking game.
Yeah.
Every time
Don't want to remember that.
everybody, I know, but the truth of the fact of the matter is, Eddie, people come to me and they go, "Yo, man, I just saw this fight of Eddie. I didn't know he fought Klitschko." I'm like, "Yo, you know what's fucking funny, bro? You bring up that fight, but you ignored every other fucking fight that he dominated in, where he worked his way to the top. You want to bring up the negative fight. However, you're right. He did fight Klitschko, and he learned a lot in that fight. And we discussed the things that he learned in that fight. And he fought for the heavyweight championship of the fucking world and didn't get a handout and was the B-side. So you're right. He did fight Klitschko. I'm proud of that fight for you. You see what I'm trying to say? And the whole point is
an accomplishment.
But you know what's crazy? They'll try to steal that information out of you.
Oh, yeah.
They'll try to steal that information out of you. And God forbid you say, "Hey, man, I got a 95% deal." You know what I'm saying? I got a 95%.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta spend something. Oh, this is a scam. Come on, dogs. Like, no disrespect. I'm not coming at you particularly. Yeah. I'm not talking to you, Eddie. I'm talking to the gentleman who made the comment.
No, I know what you're saying.
Talking generalization. Everybody who has invested, thank you so much. I honor all you guys. I appreciate you guys, and you're the reason why we do things like no days off November and give out as much free game as we can and give out phone numbers so you guys can text and you guys can reach me on Facebook, reach me on Instagram. That's why I do it, because of the people who support. So the people who haven't supported, thank the people who have supported, because they're still opening the doors for you guys. You see what I'm saying? Right. They're still showing you, they're giving you guys opportunity to steal some information because they're willing to invest. So everybody who's ever invested with me, thank you so much. And everybody who hasn't invested, thank them. Because they're the reason I'm doing it now at this particular time of my life. There was a time where I was just giving information away, Eddie, but now I'm valuing the people who invest into me. You see what I'm trying to say?
As you should.
Am I wrong, Eddie? Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, hell no. You should. You got to invest in people who invest in you, and that's life. You know what I mean? People who don't want to, I mean, hey, listen, they're around, and they decide to at some point in the future. Great, but if not, hey. We can't worry about them. We got to worry about the people who worried about us and helping us.
All right, let's move on, guys. Thank you guys for listening to my rant. Coach Anthony I've been getting pissed. Have you seen my shorts lately? I've been slamming mitts all over the head and you ducked. I mean, if you didn't duck, you was gonna get caught.
That's why my defense is good.
Man, yo, Coach really knows boxing. I bought the whole bundle, and Coach was super helpful. And I'm not joking. This was the cheapest and the most useful boxing program. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
He just bought the program. Looking forward to learning it. Thank you. I bought the bundle, and the value you're paying is a bargain. Please check it out. This program is the real thing. Thank you so much, man. See what I'm talking about, man? That's love right there. That's super love. Now let's get back to business. You guys already know where to go. CoachAnthonyBoxing.com. You know what I'm saying? We got the deal for y'all. Now, okay. Another thing that I was going to say, Eddie, if you're fighting somebody who is more skillful than you, we already kind of gave you the two major keys first. The first thing is you have to be fucking determined. Secondly, you have to be willing to die in that motherfucker. At least at some point in the fight, right? At some point when you come to your realization there's no way you're going to win, then, hey, man, it is what it is. However, you do need to have that willingness at some point in the fight, and maybe hopefully you can carry through the whole fight. The next thing is conditioning, strength and conditioning. Definitely condition. You have to be in shape, bro. I don't give a fuck how skillful you are. If you're out of shape, you're getting fucked up. Period.
That's a fact.
There's nothing else to talk about.
At some point, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, man. You know what I'm saying? You're going to lose. You have to be in shape. There's many different ways to get in shape. If you want to learn how to get in shape further than what the courses are, you can always chop it up with us in the community. You can always ask us questions. We can give you guys tips and different things that we do with our pros, etc. The next thing is do not cooperate with your opponent. And when I say that is don't try to go tit for tat with a skilled boxer. You're going to have to get a little wild, a little unorthodox, a little rough, a little bit outside of character You can't
make it ugly.
Yeah, you have to make it ugly. You have to make the boxing match kind of like, I mean, perfect people to like look at. Mayorga, Maidana. You know what I mean? Benavidez doesn't really fit the description that I'm talking about, but I did get inspired by yesterday because I do believe Demetrius Andrade has more tools in the toolbox.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But for the most part, you can't cooperate. What if Benavidez would have tried to just sit back and go jab for jab, cross, and never really decided, you know what, I'm walking through the fire. I'm going to let him throw those 8-hit combinations and just catch him. Benavidez got a hell of a block. He covers up very well.
Right.
But
my parlay would have been better. That's what would have happened. My parlay would have looked good.
He would have been really willing. He would have been willing, right? He was willing to absorb those punches in order to eventually do what he always does, which is stop guys.
Yeah.
Well, Demetrius, so my whole point is you can't cooperate. You can't fight his fight. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. You can't fight his fight. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, 100%. Like it was like I was saying, you can't leave them in a situation where they can be comfortable. You know what I mean? Like we use Maidana, you use Mayorga. Funny that they both start with an M and like a May, but it's just kind of funny. But those guys weren't interested or didn't care how they looked. All they cared about was getting the win. So they were in there trying to work twice as hard and make them work twice as hard to be successful. Take them out of character, make them have to do certain things that they're not used to doing. So you would even see them complaining to the ref. Looking at, damn, man, these is fighters. You ain't supposed to be looking at the ref for help, but this is the kind of thing that happens. You got to figure out a way to win. And of course, you know, with the exception of like Vernon Forrest didn't actually win the fight with Mayorga, but Floyd figured out a way to win with Maidana. But I'm telling you, man, these guys, when they come to fight like that and they make you have to work hard and make you do things that you're not used to doing, it's really difficult. It's hard to make that adjustment. Capable of doing that. Not everybody's a Floyd Mayweather. So if you're facing that kind of a situation where you got this real skilled guy with speed and ability and all that in front of you, you absolutely have to make the fight ugly. You have to put them in a situation that they're going to be working all night long. And if you can do that, you can be successful.
100%. Another secret is great genetics, right? Like some guys just happen to be stronger, hit harder naturally, can absorb punches. So I do think there is something that goes into having just fantastic genetics in certain situations. Have you ever worked with a guy or boxed a guy that just naturally was strong? Where you're like, damn, if this kid just learned how to box a little bit, he might be able to pull an upset against a skillful guy. You know, a lot of guys who learn how to box, they're not necessarily, and this is why when people ask me, like, do you think I could get good at this? I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely, because most people that I've met that learn how to box were not naturally gifted people. They were people who were taught how to box, and they were just consistently dedicated, including guys like myself who are now coaching. I wasn't a natural freaking genetic beast or anything like that. Like I was able to get good at boxing to, you know, my level that I felt, and I could have been way better with more dedication. What happened is the moment you stop dedicating to this game, that's it. Some guys though are so natural with it that they don't even have to go as hard as other people, and they just naturally get it. Those are the lucky people. Those are the guys that if they stay with it, if those are the guys that they stay with it and they stay consistent, they become fucking like 2, 3, 4-time world champions. But that's because they really they had everything. But a lot of guys, like let's look at a guy like Paulie Malignaggi, for instance. How many times did he win the world title?
He won it like what, 2, 3 times like that?
2 or 3-time world champion. He's known for being one of the most pillow-fisted boxers ever. So what does that
Yep.
tell you? He worked his ass off to win those fights. He had to work hard because he didn't have natural punching power or anything natural. What he had was an understanding of the fundamentals, the will to win, and he did pretty well for a guy with, no punching power. You got to have punching power to a degree. He literally was known for people saying, man, this guy can't crack an egg. You know what I'm saying? You there, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so therefore, what I'm trying to say is he became a world champion doing that shit, which means that was hard work.
Facts. Yeah. No, not every single not every fighter is gonna just be able to just, like they're not gonna be gifted in every way. And even with me, if you look at me, as not to say that if I wasn't at cruiserweight my whole career, I wouldn't have been knocking guys out. But even at the heavyweight division, I did at times. But I wasn't a one punch knockout guy there. You know what I mean? Especially not at the high level. Of course, early on there was fights I got one punch
No, but
knockouts.
you got respectable power, and I think that's why those guys didn't just try to like bombard you. If you didn't have real power, those guys would have just came at you swinging crazy and not cared about what you were throwing back. You were hurting those guys. I mean, you even like kind of mess guys' futures moving forward in a couple of fights. You know what I'm saying?
I know one of the guys. I think with Calvin, I think his left eye, if I'm not mistaken.
Calvin Brock. And for all my fight night heads out there, Calvin Brock was in fight night round 3. I used to pick him all the time in heavyweight, and you basically ended that dude's career in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good fighter, but it was just certain things like, and he was an Olympian too, which is crazy. But see, this is the thing that happens. Like, you can be an Olympian and be skilled, but there'll still be guys who still had a pretty good amateur background that end up being better skilled. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's certain things are genetic. You know what I mean? Certain people have a genetic advantages, but also, if you work hard and you maybe just slightly have a little, like maybe I'm a lot faster. I'm a lot more athletic than he, even though I didn't look that way. My coordination is probably a little bit better, or a lot better. So it was a little bit easier for me to do certain things than it was for him. So even though he had that experience, I had enough experience and the skill level to overcome the lack of experience that he had within the amateur ranks. So as we turn professional, and this is what happens with a lot of guys, like look at like we talk about Tito Trinidad. Remember at one point after he beat, I think, David Reed, he was like, "Y'all got 3 gold medals." Because he had beat Oscar De La Hoya, Oscar De La Hoya, I think it was Pernell Whitaker, and who else was it who had a gold medal? And David Reed. So it was like he got 3 gold medals. He beat 3 gold medalists as a professional. You understand what I'm saying? So that's like right there.
And you see a lot of guys, they try to run with that Olympic stuff as if that's the end all be all. And don't get me wrong, I respect an Olympian. But like you said, just because you're an Olympian doesn't mean that you're going to be a better pro than some of these guys. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? And but the thing is, the Olympians who did win the gold, though, they turned out to be really, really good professionals, though. A lot of those guys.
I mean, all right, look, if we're gonna really look at it, and I remember I was talking to Nazim about this too in the past, the great Nazim. He said, most of the best amateurs become the best pros. I mean,
it kind of makes sense, don't it? It's like going to college for fucking boxing. That's basically what it is.
Exactly. So, they're going to eventually become the best pros, even if they don't start out that way all the time. But at the same time, it's not always the case. There's going to be a guy that comes out of nowhere. You know what I mean? A guy that it wasn't that great as an amateur. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time in the amateurs. A lot of the guys that I was dealing with in the amateurs had, 10 years experience on me, you know what I mean? Or 5, 6 extra years experience than I did when I came out. So, it was a little different for me. Like I remember I was in my first year and I fought in the JO tournament and I fought a guy that had over 100 fights. And I ain't even have 10. I had 12 or 13. And it was like, I had to fight a guy with that many more fights than me, had that much more experience, but I worked really hard in my amount of time, and eventually I became a much better fighter than that guy, even though he had much more experience.
Yeah, people don't realize that, man. Everybody sees the end product and thinks, oh yeah, this guy would just had it. No. This guy worked for it. It's just like anything else in life, y'all. You got to work for this shit. And there's a lot of good. That's what I'm saying. If you're watching this right now and you're on the fence about starting boxing or whatever the case may be, all right, I'll tell you an example right now. There's a gentleman that we both know. His name is Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Campbell, I believe now is in his 70s. Okay.
He's definitely in his 70s.
He was a state trooper. Okay. It's funny. The first time he walked into my gym, this is like 10 years ago. He's still a friend of mine to this day. He came in with his gear, walking through the door, headgear, sparring gear. He said, I want to spar. So I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. I kind of took offense to that, right? I thought he was 40 years old. At the time, Eddie, he was already in his 60s. Like he was like 61 years old. This dude looked like he was
young as hell.
39. He looked like he was 39, 40 years old. I kid you not. I'm not exaggerating. Eddie, am I exaggerating?
No. If you've seen this motherfucker right now, he's in his 70s and he don't look too much older.
70s, he looks like 50. Right? This dude just took care of himself. I sicked one of my killers on him. I was like, I got somebody for you. So I sicked this kid I had named Luigi. Luigi was the Dominican kid who just threw 1,000 punches per round. You remember Luigi?
Yeah, I remember.
Yo,
I remember he came back.
Yeah, when he came back, he lost it. Once he got a girlfriend, he fell off. But when he was hungry, man, this kid could beat up. He beat up pros, and he was just an amateur. And he was a novice amateur, only 3 amateur fights. But this kid was beating up pros, Eddie. No lie. He threw so many punches that pros couldn't believe it. So anyway, make a long story short, I throw him on Mr. Campbell. Right? I'm trying to get Mr. Campbell hurt because I'm like, who's this guy thinking he could just walk in my gym? And Mr. Campbell was using survival tactics, tying him up, hit him with a shot, tie him up again. And Luigi couldn't get off like he wanted to. Luigi was hitting him a little bit more. But as the fight went on, I started noticing, I'm like, hold on, I think this guy's a little bit older than I'm thinking. I'm starting to pay attention now. I'm like, he might be a little older. I said, yo, how old are you, sir? And he was like, I don't know. He said something like 61 or 62 or something. I said, you're 62 years old? He's like, I said, stop the work, man. Get another kid in here. And I threw in a beginner. And he continued to spar, but this time he only wanted some nice casual work. But me, not knowing, I took it the wrong way. So then afterwards, he didn't complain. He didn't complain. He didn't get mad at me. He said, no. He said, look, I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to get hurt. I just want to spar. This is what I do for fitness. I said, how long have you been boxing? He said, I started when I was 40 years old. I was a state trooper. I started when I was 40. He picked up a pair of boxing gloves when he was 40, and at 60 years old, he's able to defend himself for 20-year-olds that were already beating up pros. He was able to defend himself and keep himself alive in the situation. Okay? I say that to say, for my older people out there who want to learn how to box, he didn't get in it to be a world champion. But he dedicated 20 years of his life to boxing, even longer now because he's 75, and he reaped the benefits. A 20-year-old kid can't run up on him, or at least couldn't run up on him when he was 61 years old. And that kid knew how to fight. And what if the kid didn't know how to fight? Right? So I say that, you know what I'm saying? If he didn't know how to fight, he would have got beat up. He used to take beginner kids that were strong and spar with them and just, you've seen it, Eddie. He'd be out there just blocking, touching them here and there just so they could learn. And he'd be educating them and teaching them. He started at 40 or 41 freaking years old. But one thing he did do was learn correctly. He was big on learning correctly. He trained at Schuler's boxing gym with Bus. He was around all the pros. He stuck to the fundamentals, and he actually helped me become a better coach. He always told me, Anthony, don't get off the fundamentals. Don't get off the fundamentals. Be firm. Don't let these fighters tell you what to do. If they don't do it your way, don't train them. He used to tell me this shit all the time, and those lessons you should just go into my brain. So as I became more mature as a coach, I was like, you know what? He never told me nothing fucking wrong.
That's right.
And he's still alive, by the way. We still talk. That's my man.
Still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. Shit, that motherfucker gonna live till you're 100 and something. But my whole point is, yo, he really gave me those old school gems. Like every day he'd be in the gym with me, giving me a life lesson, and I would just be listening. I used to love me. I gravitate toward older people anyway. Like all my
experience,
freaking people that all the people that I talk to on a regular basis besides Eddie are like freaking 20 years older than me. I think that's why I'm able to be in the position that I'm in today, because I always have older people schooling me. And me, one thing about me, I take the advice, I take the lessons from the older guys who've been doing this longer than me. Anybody who's been doing something longer than me and has been proven to be successful at it, this is me,
even if they're not older.
I'm taking the notes, you heard? Mental notes, but I'm taking the notes. Listen, I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, my whole point is for anybody out there who is older or anybody who's even in their mid-20s or somebody who's on the fence about boxing, you learn this shit, man. It is learnable, but you have to be willing to do it and work at it.
That's a fact. It's not an easy thing to pick up, but if it was, probably shouldn't be interested in it. You know what I'm saying? Because the journey is the benefit. You know what I'm saying? The hard, difficult things that you're trying to pick up is the benefit of it. You understand what I'm saying? If it was easy, everybody would do it. You know what I mean? And that's the case. That's not the case. It's most people, if they do, and this is the crazy part, there's a lot of people that do, and they only do it just for fitness. You know what I mean? They don't even learn the correct technique. They'll even go to, and I'm not trying to shit on anything or anything like that, with the like the Rumble boxing, but most of these companies, they just focus on boxing fitness, and that's fine. There is an avenue for that. But over here, Coach Anthony Boxing, we want to teach the right things. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to have you out there doing the wrong things. We still going to get you in shape. We're still going to get you to be able to defend yourself, but it's going to be the correct way.
But you know what's funny, Eddie? People ask me this all the time. It's funny you say that. Hey, man, so will I get in shape if I get your courses? I'm like, listen, boxing is going to get you in shape by default. Like, that's like without even, there's nothing to even talk about, because it's like, okay, for the people out there who do cardio that are like bodybuilders, right? They'll lift some weights and then they'll go walk for cardio. They will literally walk and get 10,000 steps or walk for an hour, right? You mean to tell me walking is going to give you a better workout than jumping rope, shadow boxing, hitting a bag, working on technique? And the thing is, when you're doing all these things, you're not even thinking about exercise because you're so engraved in the technique learning and the skill set that it's almost like Eddie right now. Eddie loves basketball now, for those who don't know. But you know why he loves it? He's like a little kid learning something all over again. He's already mastered the sport of boxing. If boxing was karate or something, Eddie's a 4th degree black belt. Like, he's already gotten here. So now Eddie's like, what's new? I want to play some basketball, right? He's a student again. But there's a lot of you guys out there who have not done what Eddie has done in boxing. And it's like, boxing is going to be what boxing is for Eddie when Eddie was fucking 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're learning all over again. This is like, oh, snap, this is something new. So it doesn't matter what age you learn it. Yeah. The whole key is that you decide, okay, this is something. All you have to do is just make the decision and say, this is who I want to be. If you're watching this stream, I'm going to take a wild guess. You like boxing. Take a wild fucking guess. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Listen, south of the ring, you pushing it, my guy. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I'll tell you what I'm going to do. See that south of the ring? Now I got to put you on timeout. I got to put you on timeout, my boy, because
what he said, I didn't even get a chance to read it.
The last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know what I'm saying? But you don't demand nothing in here, my guy. You don't do that. You don't demand nothing. I'm going to put you on timeout. Next time you cut, you block. You see what I'm saying? You don't demand what I'm going to teach you in here. We already giving out lessons. Yeah. I don't play that shit, man. Like, you know what I mean? I've been trying to ignore the shit, But I don't get down like that. If you're gonna come in my stream, show some respect, man. You see what I'm saying? All right. So anyway, Eddie, what you were saying?
That threw me off.
Nah,
No.
I'm just, it is what it is.
No, but you know
I
what?
mean?
Listen. To those people who want information, you know what I mean? There's plenty of information. You spend a little bit of money, and that little bit of money is worth it. You know what I mean? I understand that, when you get an opportunity to talk to us live, this is the kind of thing. But if you spend the money there, you'll always be able to talk to us live. You know what I mean? You'll be enrolled in the community. You know what I mean? Rather than, trying to get free game, and every time it's a live, you pull up. That's great. We appreciate the support. But you got to also invest in us as well as us investing in you. We're giving you a lot of game here. This ain't.
Nah, but you know what's crazy is it's just when you start getting a little bit too feisty with your mouth, like
Yeah, of course.
yo, teach me this. Like, yo, dog, if you was in person, would you be talking to me like that? Never.
Absolutely not.
You see what I'm saying?
Because
I'm not,
it's
you know
like
what I mean?
this.
So it's like, don't do that. Like, don't act crazy across the screen, because trust me, in person, sometimes I'm not as nice as I am on the screen. You see what I'm saying? I don't really play like that too much. So anyway, back to what we were saying.
That's what happens.
Much love and respect, you know what I'm saying, to all the people who show love, you know what I mean? But anyway, Eddie, any final words on how you deal with somebody who's more skilled?
Once again, man, you know what I mean? It's just you got to be willing to put the work in. You got to be willing to do things that are uncomfortable for you to make it uncomfortable for them. You got to take them to a place that they're not willing to go. And that's how you win. You know what I mean? You're not going to just be able to think you're going to be able to stay in a comfort zone and things are going to be easy when you got a guy who's really skilled in front of you. They're going to do things that you're not going to be able to adapt to. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make them work hard at what they're doing. You're going to have to put them constantly in a state of survival. They got to figure out what the next move is. Man, this guy keeps coming, man. He keeps throwing shots. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's wild. He's holding me. He's pushing me. He's pressing me. You know what I mean? He's got me off my game. Of course, they're not saying that, but in their mind, it's like, I don't know what to do. That's what you have to do with those kind of guys. You got to turn them into a guy that's fleeing, basically trying to get away, trying to get a few steps, a few inches, pause, so they can throw some clean shots, trying to keep you off them. You just got to make them uncomfortable. If you can make them uncomfortable and stay in an uncomfortable state as the fight gets further, depending on how many rounds you're going, if you're a pro, you're going, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11, 12. By that time, the fight should start to sway in your way. And even if you're not dominating, at least you'll have a better chance to win in that fashion.
I think that's it, man. I think this is a very valuable stream. I don't want to play it out by extending it too long. You know what I'm saying? I want this to kind of leave on a good note. I want you guys to understand that boxing is something you want to learn. If a guy's more skilled than you, don't let that shit throw you off. There's still ways you could win. It all comes down to how bad you want it. You see what I'm saying? If you really want it, if you're really to put in the work, if you're willing to really learn the craft, you will still have huge success in this sport. And not only that, a guy who's more skilled than you today ain't necessarily going to be more skilled than you in a year. You see what I'm saying? Right. If you're putting in the work, learning the right lessons, consistently training, consistently learning better ways to do things. Somebody said to me the other day, that was like, is there no wrong way to do something because everybody kind of teaches you something different? And I was like, in theory, yes, you're correct. However, there's always a better way to do things, right? There's always a better way. Yeah. I got a job, I can make money. You got a job, you can make money, but one of them got a better job. Yeah. One of them is bringing in a little less money, working a little less hours, right? There's always a better way to do something. So yes, you can learn anything from anybody, but try to learn from people who are going to help you do things in a better way. Because the better way makes your life easier. It saves you time. Time is our most valuable commodity. We don't want to be wasting it going down rabbit holes to end up right back here at Coach Anthony Boxing saying, I should have just fucking got the Master Boxing Bundle and learned from you guys because all the extra shit I did spun me around in circles and now I'm back here. Yeah, you are back, but now you're gonna pay a whole different price. You see what I'm saying? So that's my message for today, guys. Cyber Monday is tomorrow. I want to say thank you for all the love and support. I love all of y'all. Please don't let me, throw you off whenever I do something like that. Like, whatever. It's really not my personality. I'm just a man of respect. I show people the utmost respect. Just show it back. Eddie is very respectful. Just show it back, yo. We ain't never gonna start no shit, but at the same time, we're not gonna tolerate nothing, man. So
that's a fact.
Hold on, man. We got a super chat before we leave. Wow, that's exactly how I want to approach everyone, to live in the deep waters, being calm. Thanks, Coach. Thank Eddie for the deep insight. Thank you so much, Ryu, man. I appreciate that, man. And that's it, man. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. And see y'all tomorrow. No days off. November continues.
What's going on, guys? Your boy, Coach Anthony, and of course, none other than world-class professional fighter, Fast Eddie Chambers. Black Friday, everybody's favorite time of the year. But why are we gonna wait? We ain't waiting until Black Friday. I want to give you guys the biggest opportunity that I have ever given to grab all 16 of my masterclass courses for over 90% off. I've sold these courses previously for $300 a pop, and now you can grab all 16 for less than the price of one. I want you guys to head over to CoachAnthonyBoxing.com, and if you want to grab one course at a time, you can also grab those courses for only $47. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this sale is not going to last. So what I'm going to need you to do is go to the website and grab it now, because as soon as I raise the prices, not only am I going to raise the prices, I'm going to charge more than I've ever charged, because the value inside of these courses are second to none. Oh, and how can I forget? Every single person who grabs the Master Boxing Bundle is going to get enrolled to the CA Boxing University, which is a private community where you can upload your sparring, ask questions 24/7, show your heavy bag work, basically share your journey with a bunch of like-minded people. This is a no-brainer, guys. So you guys already know what to do. CoachAnthonyBoxing.com. Box 'em up.